Hello and welcome to Daily Spanish. To be or not to be, that is twice the question in Spanish. Today we'll learn about the two verbs to be in Spanish, ser and estar.
Hola and welcome to Learn Spanish Daily Spanish Lessons. ¿Cómo están? Today we have a very interesting topic. That is the topic of the verbs ser and estar. This is perhaps the most widely used verb in both languages, English and Spanish. Today we're going to be learning about the verb to be in Spanish. In English, we only have one verb to be, only one. However, in Spanish, guess what? We've got two verbs to be, namely ser and estar. Now, a lot of people feel a little bit intimidated when they see that there are two verbs to be in Spanish. To be or not to be, that is the question in English. To be or not to be twice is the question in Spanish. Which one shall we use? And under what circumstances do we use the verb ser to be number one or the verb estar to be number two? Don't worry about it. We're going to make this as simple as possible, so don't feel intimidated. Just remember that there are two verbs to be in Spanish rather than one as we have in English. We are just going to go through both verbs to be, and then I will teach you how to decide when to use ser and when to use estar. As you may remember, we did study the personal pronouns. Yo, which means I, tú, you, él, he, ella, she, usted, that means you, but formal. Remember, we said that too, it's formal, you. So whenever you're talking, for example, with a person in a position of authority or someone who is way older than you, you would use usted. And whenever you're talking to someone who is around your age or one of your peers, you would use tú. Okay, so then we got nosotros. Nosotros means we. We got ustedes and vosotros. They mean exactly the same thing. That means you all. And ustedes is used in Latin America, whereas vosotros is used mainly in Spain. And finally, ellos, which means they. Whenever we want to use these verbs, obviously, we're going to be using the personal pronouns that we've learned. You can see they both share the same personal pronouns. However, they are used differently. For example, when do you think we would use yo soy and when do you think we would use yo estoy? Now, a lot of people, I can see a lot of confused faces. Do not panic because I'm going to help you to understand this. Muy bien. As we can see here, ser, yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, usted es, nosotros somos, ustedes son, vosotros sois, ellos son. When do we use ser? There is a rule that can help us to actually decide when to use ser and estar. In this case, whenever things are permanent, we would use ser. I'll give you an example. Whenever we're talking about nationality, occupation, professions, relations, and characteristics, then we would use ser. For example, let's say that I'm from Argentina. If I wanted to say that I'm from Argentina, nationality, something permanent, I would say yo soy de Argentina because I am from Argentina. That's where I was born. Yo soy de Argentina. It's permanent. Now, occupation or profession. How would I say that I'm a teacher? I would say yo soy profesor or yo soy maestro. That means that I am a teacher. The same thing with relations. Let's say that I want to tell someone that I'm a father. So relations are permanent. I have kids, they will always be my kids no matter what. So I wanted to tell somebody, yes, I am a father, I am a dad. Then I would use the ser verb once again, and the conjugated form would be yo soy padre. Yo soy papá. It's something permanent. The same with characteristics. Let's say that you are very good looking and you want to tell somebody, oh, you know what? I'm beautiful. That is my characteristic. Then you would say, yo soy bonita. If you're a girl, of course. If you are a boy and let's say that you're ugly, you wanted to say, I am ugly. It's a characteristic that cannot be changed all the time. Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. You would say, yo soy feo. So one rule that you need to remember is that whenever you use verb number 1 to be in Spanish, which is ser, always apply it to permanent things. Do not worry, because we are going to cover this deeper. We are going to cover this, and I will give you some examples. So in order to revise, what you have to remember is that ser has to do with permanent things like nationality, occupations, relations, and characteristics. So if you are from Australia, for example, you will say yo soy australiano. Just to illustrate, permanent, remember? Let's say that I'm from Cuba. I would say yo soy cubano. It's permanent. I was born in Cuba, so I am cubano. If you were born in Australia, I would say to you, tú eres australiano. Oops, the I disappeared. There it is. Let's say that you are a doctor and your friend is also a doctor. So we wanted to say that he is a doctor. This is the easiest because it's very similar to English. Is, es. So we want to say that he is a doctor. So we would say él es doctor. Oops. Él es doctor. Let's say that we are friends. Something that hopefully will always be permanent. We'll be good friends. Yes, friends for life. Nosotros somos amigos. Okay? Characteristics. Let's say that you guys are pretty big. Okay? So I would say, ustedes son grandes. Or let's say that you're small. Vosotros sois, like they would say in Spain, sois pequeños. All right. Now, characteristics. Let's say that those guys over there are really cool. They're nice. The word for nice in Spanish would be simpáticos. So we want to say they are nice. Ellos son simpáticos. Okay, amigos. So what we have to remember is this. In English, we have only one verb to be. In Spanish, we have two verbs to be, namely ser and estar. Now, the tricky bit here is we have to determine when do we use ser and when do we do estar. And there are two rules in order to determine this. In 99% of the cases, this rule will apply. First one is this. So we'll use the verb ser whenever we talk about permanent things such as nationality, professions, occupations, relations like family relations, and characteristics. The one rule that you need to remember is that you use ser whenever you're talking about permanent things such as nationality, occupations, relations, and characteristics. We'll use estar with temporary things. So it's the opposite. And these include locations, we're not always at the same location. Emotions, we don't always feel exactly the same. Actions, we're not always doing exactly the same thing. And condition as well. We use estar, which is a verb to be number 2 in Spanish. We use estar with temporary things. So it's the opposite to ser. Ser was for permanent things, whereas estar is for temporary things, such as locations. You could be at McDonald's in an hour's time, and 3 hours later you could be somewhere else in the city. So it's not something permanent. You change locations. We also use estar, which is temporary, for emotions. You could be very, very sad today, and you could be extremely happy tomorrow. So it is something temporary. Your emotions can change. We also use estar for actions. For example, now I'm teaching Spanish. Doesn't mean I'll be teaching Spanish in 5 hours' time. I may be teaching Chinese, or I may be teaching the guitar and so many other things. Or I could be doing something completely different. I could be watching my favorite TV series. I could be reading. So these actions are temporary, and that's when we use the verb estar. Now if you notice, when we conjugate the verb estar, it's not yo soy, but it is estoy. Yo estoy en Canada. So it is something temporary. I may be somewhere else on the other side of the world in 2 weeks' time. The same thing with condition. Let's say that today, let's say that today I woke up and I'm feeling a little bit sick. So I could say yo estoy enfermo. Enfermo means sick. So that is a temporary condition. Or I could be in bed. I'm not going to be in bed all day long. So that would be temporary as well. Yo estoy en cama. I'm in bed, and so on. Alrighty, so this is pretty much a preview. I will be teaching you this step by step in a series of lessons, because this requires more attention. But what you have to remember is the following. Okay, amigos, so what we have to remember is this. In English, we have only one verb to be. In Spanish, we have 2 verbs to be, namely ser and estar. Now, the tricky bit here is we have to determine when do we use ser and when do we do estar. And there are 2 rules in order to determine this. In 99% of the cases, this rule will apply. First one is this. We will use the verb ser whenever we're talking about permanent things. Nationality, professions, relations, characteristics. We already talked about that. So we'll use the verb ser whenever we talk about permanent things such as nationality, professions, occupations, relations like family relations, and characteristics. We'll use estar with temporary things. So it's the opposite. And these include locations. We're not always at the same location. Emotions. We don't always feel exactly the same. Actions. We're not always doing exactly the same thing. And condition as well. 2 things you need to remember. Ser, permanent. Estar, temporary things. Hey, if you like this lesson, please give me a like and subscribe. We'll be uploading daily Spanish lessons. Subscribe now. And I'll see you tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Have a lovely day and take care.